Axim is an independent consultancy. We provide services in three particular areas: enterprise consulting specific to contact center and communications technologies and solutions. We provide analytic solutions using our Axim analytics framework, and we have our own nearshore center of excellence based in Costa Rica.
Welcome to Business Ninjas, brought to you by WriteForMe, where you'll hear from business leaders who are out there growing their business and slaying it every day. Learn from the masters. Let's get started.
Hey everybody, welcome back for another episode of Business Ninjas. I'm here today with Marcus Gates. He's the Senior Vice President of Sales and Marketing at Axim. Marcus, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, excited to have you. So Marcus, tell me a little bit about yourself.
So I'm the Senior Vice President of Sales and Marketing here at Axim. I've been in the enterprise technology space, primarily within the communications and contact center space for the last 24 years. I started out in an inside sales center for a large communications manufacturer, and 24 years later, I'm leading sales and marketing here for a consultancy called Axim.
That's fantastic. Great history kind of leading up to Axim. So tell me more about Axim.
Axim is an independent consultancy. We provide services in three particular areas: enterprise consulting specific to contact center and communications technologies and solutions. We provide analytic solutions using our Axim analytics framework, and we have our own nearshore center of excellence based in Costa Rica, which we use for technology outsourcing.
Okay. So, with those three kind of areas that you work with, what would you say the biggest challenge that your customers have before they start working with Axim is?
Well, the communications environment, if you look at the marketplace and landscape of different providers, there's new unified communications and contact centers and service providers entering the market. It feels like daily some days. There's all the legacy providers that are out there. And I think the biggest challenge that clients have is really making sense of all of it.
Yeah.
Particularly knowing what's right for them, how to measure it, how to manage it on an ongoing basis.
Yeah. And so kind of talking about communications, why do you think your customers struggle with adopting a cloud-based communications or, a customer contact technologies?
So we've seen two things. One of them is, again, just the number of different solutions out there and the way that the ones that are out there are constantly changing and evolving.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty near impossible for any one company to keep up to date with everything that's going on.
Mm-hmm.
It's particularly hard to keep up to date with what's going on through the lens of what's important in your business.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the ways Axim helps is that we start by baselining a customer, showing them who they really are today in a very detailed manner, documenting their requirements, not just technically, but operationally and financially, working with stakeholders across the business. So they start down that transformational journey with a really solid understanding of not just who they are today, but where they want to be in the future.
Yeah.
And then we can help guide them through looking at the landscape that's out there based on what makes sense for them, but also which partners are going to be able to get them to their desired future state now that they know what that is very clearly.
So it sounds like there's kind of a lot of analytics involved, like you said, consulting. So what kinds of analytics challenges is Axim able to solve for its clients then?
And getting back to all that crowded marketplace we talked about a couple of times now, a lot of customers we deal with today don't just have one single solution in place, right? They've got many. And that can be because of mergers and acquisitions. It can be because different lines of business have procured their own solutions. But at the end of the day, one of the challenges is just getting consolidated, usable data to manage the business out of many different sources.
Yeah.
So we developed this framework called Axim Analytics because we've seen companies struggle with this for a decade or better.
Mm-hmm.
And when what we do, our framework allows us to ingest data from multiple different sources. We normalize it back into a single set of calculations and definitions that are driven by the customer and our own subject matter experts. And then we present it back to the client in what we call semantic layers. And what I mean by that is that if you think about a contact center reporting solution, the people that typically use that type of solution are going to be people within the workforce management space or contact center operations leaders. They're used to the kinds of key performance indicators and service level metrics that they've got to manage on a day-to-day basis to drive the success of their operation.
Mhm.
But if I'm in marketing, I might really care about what channels my customers are using to contact me. How's my last campaign doing? What are the sales results that I'm getting out of my latest campaigns?
Mhm.
And if you're presenting those back to me in call center metrics, I'm not going to know what I'm looking at. I won't be able to use that data to do my job.
Yeah.
So one of the things we do is we actually take the same enterprise data source, but we can present it to different stakeholders in ways that make sense to them without having to retrain and re-educate on what they already know, that they can then take that data, and what's most important is put it to use to improve the operations in the enterprise.
Yeah. So talking about your clients, have you seen trends in, specific industries? I know you talked about the call centers in specific industries and, niches that your clients fall into?
So for us, I mean, in terms of a niche, we're a little bit different as a smaller company in
Mhm.
that most of our clients are on the larger end of the spectrum.
Mhm.
We deal with a lot of large insurance firms based in the U.S., both healthcare, property casualty, financial services organizations, large technology companies, including systems integrators, business process outsourcers, people like that. But really anybody that has a contact center, hundreds of agents, thousands of employees, needs to be able to manage what they have and do better and plan for the future. They're typically a good fit for us.
Yeah. And kind of those three different areas that you talked about at the beginning, do you think that those, and like you said, being kind of in that niche area, do you think that those are kind of what differentiates you from your competition? What differentiates Axim from its competition?
So I think the thing that really makes us stand out, I guess, is a couple of things. I mean, number one, if you look at our experience, right? I mean, our tagline is experience above all. And so we're all about, as a company, delivering a great experience for our customers, customers, but all that's based upon our experience as a company. And we've got, in aggregate, hundreds of hours of experience with really large, really complex communications, contact center, and analytics platforms and services. So, we've got a lot of really specific, deep experience in our field.
Yeah.
And the number two, that translates into just consistent quality. That is one of the things we've hung our hat on. We've been in business now. We're in our 7th year. And one of the things that it keeps our clients coming back is that the last experience they had with Axim was great, and they know the next one will be as well.
So kind of talking about being an extension of teams, you mentioned earlier about Axim having, nearshore operations. How is that different from the other technology that staffing providers in the market provide?
So when we started this center out, we did it very intentionally to be different, and one of the things we did is we picked Costa Rica to be the anchor, the headquarters of this operation. Costa Rica has it's consistently voted one of the happiest countries on earth. They place a really high premium on technical education. So there's a real wealth of modern technical skills within the country. From an English language perspective, the population is very fluent, and there's a lot of education focused on that as well. But most importantly, I mean, just the attitude of the people that we work with in Costa Rica is like nothing I've ever come across.
Yeah.
So it's just when I talked about our quality being a big part of our brand identity, it was a natural fit. I mean, right now, if you look at our average customer satisfaction scores out of our nearshore center, they're in the 90s. If you look at our attrition, the rate at which people are leaving us, it's next to zero. Wow. We built the kind of place where people can come, do meaningful work, grow their careers, and do a great job for our customers. And it's really proven out. The other thing that I think makes us different is that, especially as a smaller company, we took the time to go through ISO certification processes around the processes we use to run our entire business, but specifically our nearshore operation. So we're ISO 9001 and 27001 certified. And so we can look at a client in the eye and say, look, not only are the people second to none and the experience you're going to get second to none, but if you look at our processes, we can guarantee that they adhere to industry best practices and some of the most stringent standards that are on the market.
And that pulls back into your slogan, experience above all, right?
It does.
Yeah, exactly. So kind of circling back to those three specific practice areas, you talked about enterprise communication consulting, experience analytics, and then team extension services. So why do you think those three components are so important for your clients to have?
Well, we like to look at them as kind of whole life cycle services for the business that we're in, that enterprise communications and contact center space. The consulting helps clients understand directionally where they want to go, how to solve big challenges. Analytics helps them measure those the platforms that are in place today. And via our nearshore services team, we can help them run those platforms as well. So we feel like we can be engaged and effective with customers throughout the life cycle of their communications journey experience.
Yeah. So for that lifestyle experience, or for life cycle experience, what does the onboarding look like for them? Like how does the relationship begin?
So typically, I mean, every relationship begins with a conversation. At some point, maybe, you visited our website or talked to another former client or current client and learned enough about us that as a customer, you want to have a conversation with us. So typically the first conversation just gets into what is a customer you're looking for today, and sometimes when we talk to clients, there's already some notion of that. So we're not talking about the entire enterprise, but more of a specific portion of it. But in general, it's just a matter of getting down to what the client wants to get out of the relationship, what they're looking for us to help solve.
Yeah.
And then again, as part of the services business, that all gets codified in a scope of work and our people engage and solve problems and hopefully re-engage again.
Interesting. So, talking about enterprise communications, is there any misconceptions, either about Axim or, enterprise communications that you hear often?
Hopefully none about Axim, but when it comes to enterprise communications, one of the things that I've seen is that there's this perception that as its technology's moved from being kind of large on-premise hardware based to what is today almost fully in the cloud, that it's also gotten simpler and easier. And in some ways it has, but in a lot of ways it hasn't. You still have to provide the same level of rigor and planning and oversight and governance, no matter where your solution resides, whether it's in the cloud, whether it's in your data center. Things have gotten simpler in certain ways, but as a whole, it still requires a lot of focus and time and attention on behalf of the enterprises that use the technology.
Yeah, interesting. Good point to have, and certainly kind of debunk that. So kind of talking about how can people find you? Where would they go to, start, like we said, start the relationship, start to learn more?
You can check us out on our website. It's Axim Global, AXIMGLOBAL.com. We're on LinkedIn. You can find me, Marcus Gates, on LinkedIn as well. Probably the best places.
Yeah, fantastic. Great. So Marcus, as we, wrap up this conversation, is there anything that you want to leave our listeners with that we didn't necessarily touch on, either on enterprise communications, on experience analytics, on, team extension services, on Axim? Anything you want to leave our listeners with?
Yeah, I would just say that, if your organization is looking to make great choices about your communications and contact center technology, if you're looking to measure and manage that technology better, and if you're looking for access to skills to be able to get the most out of these technologies, give us a call. We'd love to help.
Yeah, fantastic. Great. Well, Marcus, this has been a great conversation about enterprise communications. I really appreciate you taking the time to be on Business Ninjas today and really break down what that looks like and break down, all of the different, specific practice areas that Maxim is able to assist its clients with. So like I said, I really appreciate you being on Business Ninjas today.
No, Kelsey, it's my pleasure. Thanks for having me.